Okay, we're going to discuss the scientific method. All right, we went over this last year's seventh and eighth graders. So if you're a seventh or eighth grader, this should be reviewed, should not be a problem. Um, Sixth graders, pay attention. If you need to take notes, please do so. All right, the scientific method. There are several steps. By the way, all the QCES schools are using these same steps so that we all know them. Okay, I will send you a PDF copy of this so that you have it and you can print it out if you wish. Okay, so I'm going to talk about different steps. And when I say steps, I will say this first step, second step. Please understand that these steps can be done in any order. Okay, in certain scientific experiments, you will have to do certain steps first out of order from what I'm teaching. That's just the way it is. Okay, so it depends on what you're wanting to find the answer to. Okay, so the first step is to have a problem or state the problem that you're wanting to find the answer to. Another way of putting that is ask a question. All right, so that's your beginning point. You then will go down and you will gather information. You can look stuff up. You can look it up on Google. You can look it up in an encyclopedia. You can read a book in the library. You can ask an expert. Okay, all those are gathering information. The experiment that we did in class last year as a lab, which we're not going to be able to do this year due to COVID, is we had two different RC cars, different shapes, different sizes, different weights, and we were going to find out which one was the fastest. So the problem was, or the question was, which of these two RC cars is the fastest? Okay, so gathering information. So I passed the cars around. We got to look at the different sizes and shapes, fill the weight. Okay, so that was our gathering information. Then you form a hypothesis. Okay, that's what you think is going to happen. So, for example, all right, in the two RC cars, you might say, well, this one's lighter, so I think it is going to go faster. Or you might say, this one has better tread on the tires, so I think this one's going to go faster. So you're going to form a hypothesis. All right. The next step is testing the hypothesis. Obviously, with the two RC cars, we'd line them up. You can either do them side by side, or you could time each of the cars on a certain distance, however you want to do it. But then you have, you're testing the hypothesis. You then analyze the data. So you're going to take those times, okay, that you have written down, and you're going to compare the data so that you can see which one is actually faster. Then you will draw a conclusion. So you're going to come up with a conclusion as a statement. So you're going to say the lighter car was faster than the heavier car, or the car with better traction on their tires was faster. That is a conclusion. Okay? Now here's where it gets a little bit, this is where the scientific part comes into play. Okay? So if your hypothesis is supported, so if you guessed which car was faster, or you hypothesized which car was faster, then you're going to repeat it several times. You want to make sure that the data is real, so you have to repeat it more than once. You know, if you had time, you could do it 100 times to make sure that your data was legitimate. Okay? But it's very important to understand that you have to repeat several times, even if the first one meets what your hypothesis is. Okay? Hypothesis not supported, then you have to go back up and you have to form a new hypothesis. Okay? So you might say, okay, the lighter car was not faster because I think the traction on the tires of the other one were better. Okay? So that's why the other one's faster. So then you'd go through and say, okay, the other one is faster because of that, test it, analyze it, draw conclusions. So then once you get it to be supported, again, you have to repeat several times. That is the important part. Okay? So that's the scientific method. Not a whole lot to it as far as steps, but really important as far as repeating several times and knowing what to do if your hypothesis is supported or not supported. All right? So if you have any questions, let me know. and I will get you a PDF copy of this.